All right, everybody, what is going on? Happy Sunday. Today, we are talking about Game 1 Summer League reactions, overreactions, dare I say? I don't know. Stick around to find out. We got Wendy reporting on Anfernee Simons. Is he still on the trade block? JB joins Kyrie's stream. And then, of course, we have producer Alex, that's right, producer Alex, to drop us with some more trivia. We kind of knocked it out of the park last time. So let's hopefully he's got a stronger challenge for us this time. All that and more coming up next here on Green with Envy. You guys know the deal. Let's lock in. Ooh, what up, what up, what up? Welcome into another edition of Green with Envy. As always, this is your boy Will Weir checking in. How you doing? How you living? Joining me, as he does each and every time, my best friend, co-host, and the coach of our podcast, the one and only, Greg Manakis. Greg, happy Sunday, my guy.
Happy Sunday, dude. Thank you for the great gift that you gave to baby boy James for turning 1. We had it up this morning. Will got him like this little sports station with a hoop, a tee, and then there's like also a ring toss. I don't know if you saw that. You can turn it into a ring toss.
It's like 4-in-1. Listen, I fully believe in the well-rounded athlete. I know we're in Texas here. A lot of people, because you can play any sport, just one specific one. We ain't doing that to my guy James. All right, he's gonna have skills. He's gonna have baseball skills. He's gonna have basketball skills. He's gonna be a well-rounded athlete. I mean, honestly, he might be the next Luka Garza, Greg. I think that's what we might have on our hands right now.
Luka Garza, Hugo Gonzalez. I don't know which one. I'm leaning towards one or the other.
Whichever one we're leaning, he looks white, so it looks like we're leaning into a white guy for sure. But with that, on today's episode, so we're recording this on Sunday morning. So the Celtics do have a Sunday afternoon Summer League game against the Knicks. So we're not going to talk about that one. Just listen, guys, it's Summer League. We'll get to it. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's Summer League. We got lives. Things happen. So we are going to talk about our Game 1 instant reactions from the Celtics Grizzlies game earlier in the week. Then we got a few news and notes that we're going to hit, and then we'll bring in producer Alex here to hit us with some trivia. But Greg, let's talk about Summer League basketball. It's really crazy. From how many years ago was it that you went to Summer League? Because I've actually never been, but I know, but we've talked about it before. You've been, but it was before it's become what it's become right now, which is just on such a different level than when you were even there.
It was Tatum's rookie year.
Okay,
Tatum's rookie
so
year
that was
first year I went.
2017, I think. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What Summer League has become now, just first and foremost, before we get into the game, is so crazy. I don't know if you saw for the Cooper Flag and Bronny James matchup. I think tickets were going on the high end for like $3,000, and like on the low end, like getting into a Summer League game was over $200-300. I feel like we've what is the phrase? We've jumped the shark here.
Yeah.
I feel like we've jumped the shark just a little bit with Vegas Summer League, and I don't know. That just seems a bit much for me. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I think my dream of going to Summer League, I think I've missed my window on it.
Probably. You probably have missed your window. It's similar, down here in Austin with South by Southwest, how we used to feel about South by, how you could go to all these cool events, and then it got corporatized, and now it's like there's not even a music week anymore. It's just the corporate part of it is like the tech part is all what South by Southwest is now. Same thing with Rainy Street down here in Austin, right? Rainy Street was cool when we first started going, and then now it's just a bunch of high rises and bullshit bars. So it happens, man. You gotta find the right window, and you missed your window. I'm glad I had my experience at Summer League. Patted Mark Cuban on the back, and he told me, "Don't touch me." That was my favorite. My favorite moment from Summer League. Walked up, I said, "What's up, Cubes?" He looked behind, and he goes, "Don't touch me." I was like, "Okay."
You're lucky he just didn't like snap his fingers and have like security pop out from behind.
But that's what Summer League maybe is now. But when I was there, it wasn't like that. You had access to anybody and everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do think now it's still like a good gathering for people like us to like kind of meet up in person. But like the experience of like, yo, we're gonna go to all these games, have these like, one-on-ones with not one-on-ones, but a more intimate experience with these players. I don't know. It's just gotten blown out to the point where it's kind of mind-boggling. But let's talk about on the court here. Celtics got a 92-78 win over the Grizzlies earlier this week. Greg, blank slate. Where do you want to go here? Who do you want to start with? Where do you want to go with this?
Let's give a shout to our guy Rob version 1 in the chat. It says game 1 reaction. Brad should find a way to dump Tillman, which I think every Celtics fan would be okay with, to sign Charles Bassey. I mean, if we're going off of the game 1 reaction, definitely Charles Bassey looked great, but he's a young vet in the league. He's played, I think, 3 or 4 years now. He was on the Spurs, so I've seen him quite a few times with the Spurs, just kind of catching some local games. He's an energy big, he sets good screens, gets out of screens quickly. I think what you notice a lot of times in Summer League is the guys that understand the geometry of the floor and the angles, where like there are no false steps from the guys that have played for a while, right? And then you see all the young people that don't quite know how to, take the physicality of a screen and still roll hard to the basket. How long am I actually holding that screen? What types of things can I get away with under the basket? How do I reposition myself in the dunker spot, when someone's driving to the hoop? Like all these little things that you kind of pick up over the years. Charles Bassey just knows how to do all those things at this point. So he's going to jump off the screen compared to a guy like Amari Williams. And then when you compare that with the corpse of the oldest 26-year-old in the history of humanity, Xavier Tillman, he's definitely going to be a lot better than I think he actually is. Charles Bassey, I would be okay with him being on the squad, but I don't think he's going to, be that big of an upgrade. If
right. And so I love everyone jumping on the Charles Bassey train, just because it was a surprise, right? Like he wasn't even like really officially on the roster until like an hour before the game, and I saw even people that were there, like the Jack Simones and Bobby Manning's, like Charles Bassey's in the lineups warming up, but we haven't heard anything. And then it was like, oh, okay, I guess Charles Bassey's on the Summer League roster, so it was like a complete unknown. So it was like a nice surprise that you weren't expecting going into the game, and I think you nailed all the reasons why he stood out. To pour a little bit of water on this, I think the biggest red flag is that he spent the last 3 years in San Antonio and either barely played or they had no intention of really keeping him. San Antonio's pretty good at development, right? Like that's an organization where if there were true skills and assets that he had for an NBA team, especially where the Spurs have been the last couple of years in the younger developmental phase, I think he would have found a way there. So to me, that's a pretty big red flag not to get too excited about what you see in Summer League. The fact that the Spurs were like, yeah, this guy's been here for 3 years. You know what? We like what the Celtics have done with their development. We're going to go get Luke Cornett.
Yeah.
And, we're even going to dig way back and we're going to go get Kelly Olynyk as well, too, which I like that pickup by the Spurs, by the way. Really, really improving their frontline options. But the fact that they went out and made those moves and not necessarily that Bassey had to be a guy that's like in their mix, but the fact that he couldn't really crack the mix on a consistent basis over the last 3 years. And then this offseason at 24 years old, they just were like, nah, we're all set.
He can't do. He's a complete off the ball big. You know what I mean? You cannot give him the ball and run any sort of action through him. I think that's what, if you're making an argument for Tillman to still be on the team, even though I do not want to see Tillman on the team next year, the whole point of getting Tillman was he was actually like pretty decent, and he has some like, throw the ball to him at the elbow or high post, and you can run some dribble handoffs with him. He has like good vision. Not a good shooter, but he could at least do a little bit with the ball. Bassey is going to set screens and roll hard to the basket and be athletic and huge. Like that's all he can do. And you just drafted.
So Neemias Queta.
I mean, nowhere near as good as Queta.
Right. But I'm saying it's a similar proposition as to like what you're looking for energy. You're looking for a guy Queta can at least handle the ball and do some handoffs. Like you know what I mean? But you're getting,
I think it's
similar
like
but lesser
Amari Williams.
Queta, I guess.
I think it's just Amari Williams. It's just another it's right-handed Amari Williams. That's what Charles Bassey is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's talk about the rookie. Let's go to Ugo Gonzalez, who got his first look. We got our first look at him. He was 4 of 12 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, only 1 of 5 from the line, finished with 12 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks, plus 11 on the game. I liked Ugo, man. I liked what I saw. I mean, it looked raw, but I liked what I saw out of Ugo. I think he was I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago, and we'll talk about Baylor Shireman here in a minute. I think the Celtics need a little bit more kind of just like an energy boost into their lineup, a little bit of franticness almost, if
Mhm.
you will, of just guys diving on the floor, being even slightly reckless at times,
Yeah, the
just to
Neesmith,
kind of mix it up.
Crash
What's that?
Neesmith.
Yes, exactly. You know what's funny? This thought came across my head maybe yesterday or so, is the Aaron Neesmith thing. We talked about it during the Pacers run. Like, I'm cool. He was never going to work out the way that he needed to. This year that's upcoming, this gap year that the Celtics have, this would have been the perfect year for Aaron Neesmith. If he were ever to become anything meaningful for the Celtics, he would have needed something akin to this upcoming gap year the Celtics are having, where it's just, hey man, go make a bunch of mistakes and like go play a little bit more free. We don't need you in this tight role where we're trying to win a championship and you have to, just do this and that. It's like you can kind of play a little bit more free. Now, obviously, that wasn't going to be the case, but he is the type of guy that the Celtics, what he's turned into is the type of guy the Celtics have been missing in their
Mhm.
rotation for the last couple of years. An athletic wing, knock down threes, plays that defense, kind of gives you that third guy so that when you take one of Jaylen or Jason off, they still have another really dynamic, two-way wing defender, if you will. He can't put the ball on the deck quite that well, but he's such a good shooter, movement shooter, that it kind of gives him that other element. They're looking for that, and they're hoping, I think, this summer league, we're looking at both Ugo and we're looking at Jordan Walsh. Like, that's kind of their tryout this year.
Mhm.
And Ugo's really young, so he's going to have some more time to develop. But that's their tryout, is like, can you guys be that third wing that we've been missing?
In your first time watching Ugo, any people's like comparison wise stand out to you? Any names pop up in your head? Any faces pop up in your head? Because I got a few.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nick NBA talked a little bit about this because just watching a few of his clips before, and even a little bit in the little bit of summer league, is Franz Wagner kind of jumps to my mind. And I don't know if that's just like a Euro comparison, but I do see a little bit of that. It's the way that he kind of handles the ball, the way that he moves on the court, and I'm curious to talk to you about his jump shot
Mhm.
because he went 3 of 5, right? So the numbers were good.
One of them
I
was
think
a
this, I think
bank
the
at the end of the game.
yeah. I mean, I think the release is my quick analysis on it, my uneducated analysis on it, released a little bit slow, but the shot's not broken, right? Like, I don't think it's like
Mhm.
grotesque, right? Like, I don't know what's happened to Franz Wagner's shot, so that's a whole different story. But I think with Ugo, like, I was like, there's something to work with there. I 1 of 5 from the line. You always talk a lot about, does the free throw line translate to what you can do at the 3-point line? Don't love the 1 of 5. But I think there's something to work with, is what I came away with. And so I still have that. I had Franz kind of predetermined in my head, so I need to watch a little bit more and see what else I can pick from it. But what are some of the names that you had?
Christian Braun stood out to
Brown.
me a little
Brown
bit.
is correct, but yes.
Brown. Denny Adia,
I like that one.
which I really like Denny, and Mario Hazonia.
Don't like that one quite as much. I mean, in
Those are
theory, I've always gotten the theory of Mario Hazonia, but the actuality of Mario Hazonia is a little bit scary.
Yeah, those were the 3 that just kinda like just by watching a couple minutes of Ugo, I'm just like,
Well,
"Okay,
tell
I
tell
can."
us more. Tell us more about why those 3 names kind of connected for you.
So the energy thing that you mentioned, I think like when you watch Brown on the Nuggets, like that's what he brings to that team. He's just like that kind of X factor energy guy that will pick up full court, will get up in somebody's jersey. Like that one possession where Ugo was guarding the ball 94 feet and he ends up like getting screened, falls to the ground, gets right back up and like continues to play strong off ball defense, denies the pass, like all that stuff that you see out of Ugo. And then he gets out on the break and ends up hitting the 3-pointer off of a good steal by Williams and Walsh. So that's what kind of stood out to me with Brown. And then when you just, I guess, continuing with him, it's just the hops, his ability to have that put back dunk. He had a couple more times where he was just like flying to the rim for potential offensive rebounds that didn't end up needing to be rebounded. So I think that level of just like, you always got to have your eye on this guy, that Aaron Neesmith, the Delonte West nature of offensive rebounding as a guard, right? And then when you think of Denny Avdia, he's a guy that I think has grown a lot in people's eyes as to what he could be in the league.
Mhm.
I think he's a little bit bigger than Ugo, probably by about 2 inches, and he's, a lot thicker, but they're both, right-handed downhill attack players. And I think that that's what Ugo's going to bring to this team is when he gets an opportunity, which I hope he does, within the first 2 years. I would love to see him on the floor next year. I just don't know if that's really the best move for him in his first year. Maybe he's a G League developmental guy where he can really get reps as an on-ball guy versus just like throwing him out there with this team where he's going to be
Right.
off-ball. Because I think when we talk Jordan Walsh, I think Walsh might be the one to kind of get that first shot this year, right? Ugo's 19. Walsh has been on the team for 3 years. So Joe Mazzulla seems to be living in a little bit more of a meritocracy than some other teams, right? So who knows if that changes, but I think with the Avdia comparisons, that's kind of what I see there. And then the low end is Hazonia, right? Hazonia came into the league as highly touted, athletic European guy, and then he had a couple moments, I think, for the Knicks, right? He had a couple moments for the Knicks where, by moments I mean like literally one game where he played well.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the low end there. Is like these guys that come over, they clearly have a skill set, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't click in the league.
Yeah, and then they'll go have a 12-year Eurobasket
Mhm.
career, EuroLeague career. Yeah, I like the part that you brought up about the development with him being on ball versus off ball. And it's interesting thinking about that, kind of going through my head. I initially was just like, yeah, totally agree with you. There's not going to be opportunities for him to be on ball. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, maybe there will be, like, I mean, I think a lot of it, I think initially to start the season, probably not. But I think depending on how the season starts, and we're going to get to some comments JB made here in a little bit on his stream with Kyrie. But I think you look initially, it's like, well, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Anfernee Simons, TBD.
Mhm.
We'll talk about that also coming up here in just a second. Like those are going to be the main guys that have the ball in their hands. And I feel like some of that could be subject to change, depending on how the season starts. And then maybe that opens up more. But I think you are probably right that initially to start the season, Jordan Walsh is probably the better fit into whatever rotation Joe Mazzulla is going to be looking at. And Ugo's potentially is going to be better served in Maine to start the season. But while we're talking about Jordan Walsh, let's go to him because I think this is probably the player on the Summer League roster this opportunity is most important for just to show something. And I think, to be honest, he showed me the baseline of what I was looking for
Mhm.
in this game, right? 6 of 12, 3 of 6 from 3. He ended up with 17 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought had some pretty good moments on defense. This was kind of the, Jordan Walsh had, I think they mentioned on the broadcast, he missed his first 22 threes or something crazy like that last year in Summer League. This year comes out 3 of 6. Shot looked pretty nice. Definitely been something he's been working on. And I think his defense stood out a little bit. He had a couple of athletic moments that were there. This was totally, it didn't blow me away. But this is totally what I needed from Jordan Walsh to be like, all right, let's get the training camp with this version of Jordan Walsh and let's see if he can find some minutes.
Yeah, and the 3 3-pointers that he made, there's that one left wing, probably like 28-footer that he shot with a lot more range than I thought he kind of had at this point. And then the other two, wide open threes where he takes a rhythm dribble, like the Jaylen Brown rhythm dribble at the 3-point line. So
Yeah,
like, I don't know
I don't love
really
those.
what I can take from those. I would rather him just like get the rep of catch and shoot versus like
Dude, there was
needing to
one
take
where
that
I think
rhythm
he
dribble.
had at least 4 to 5 seconds on the actual shot clock to be
Yeah.
able to take it because he like paused, took a breath, was like, no, let me take a dribble.
Yeah.
Pause, take a breath, and then shoot. It was pretty crazy how long he had on that one.
Yeah, that's just like a bad habit to get into, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
JB, we saw that happen in the Knicks series, right? The time where Mitchell Robinson ended up closing out on him because he took that dribble. Like when the moments get big, like you don't have time to do all that stuff. People are gonna close out really hard at you. So like it's summer league, it's developmental. I'm not gonna overreact to something like that, but just something I noticed. You know what I mean? Like how confident is he in just like catching and rising, needing to like gather himself and take that dribble. But it's summer league, so I'm not going to overreact to it. But I do like your point of Jordan Walsh and the physicality and the athleticism, because when he came into the league, he has athleticism. He's not like a jump out of the gym guy. He's got great measurables with the over 7-foot wingspan and all that, but he doesn't have like a 40-inch vertical by any means,
Mhm.
right? His vert is a little lower. He can finish with power. But he was skinny coming into the league. And like when with 2 years under your belt in the Celtics strength and conditioning program, you hope that he looks like one of the stronger players out there. And I think as a young guy, because he came out at 19 years old, right? Jordan Walsh was super young. He still has a lot of time to grow into that body, and he's got like a great frame. So it was good to see Jordan Walsh have those moments where you're like, okay, the athleticism is already translating. He looks more athletic than a lot of these people out here. Now let's go to the bag. Let's go to the skill work. Let's think about how the Celtics are utilizing him. You know, coming off the screen and rolls, is that handle tight or is the handle loose coming off the screen, right? And it seemed to me that it was a little loose. Like throughout the game, it felt like he had a lot of like mishandles where it just wasn't 100% smooth. But you know, he's getting the reps right now, which is good for him. And then they run that little delay flare action for him with in the Derek White spot, right, where he's coming off of the screen at the top for the flare in the Derek White, like classic 3-man action with him, Tatum, and a big, right? So it seems like they're trying to put him in some different areas that translate to what he might see within the Celtics offense. And he's going to need to continue to play well this summer league. I don't know how many games he's going to get, but I hope they play him the whole summer league because I want him to dominate.
Yeah, this is the type of moment for him. Like year 3, even if you came into the league younger, you should be seeing some type of development. So positive sign, I think, from Jordan Walsh out of game 1. Want to see him continue to grow on that. Anyone else on this roster that you wanted to talk to? I know in the chat we've got a few questions about Amari Williams. We haven't talked about Garvey Park Grant Williams, aka Kenneth Lofton Jr. You know, those are probably the other 2 guys, and Baylor Shireman are probably the other guys that kind of potentially need us to address. But any of them that you want to hit before we go on to our next topic here, Greg?
No, I think for anyone listening on the pod, go back and rewatch the stream if you want to see what's going on in the chat. We got a good conversation with Rob version 1 and Larry talking about the other big. So good to see everyone commenting in the chat. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Larry.
Yeah, so Celtic Summer League rolls on here. We will have some more thoughts for you guys as the summer goes on. As we mentioned, we're recording this Sunday morning, so Celtics and Knicks playing on Sunday afternoon. We will have some more check-ins throughout the next week or two as Summer League continues. News and notes from earlier this week. Let's start with this one here, Greg. Let's go to Brian Windhorst, who talked about on the Hoop Collective podcast that Brad Stevens has apparently, or he's been hearing that Brad's still calling around to see about Anfernee Simons and kind of his trade value. As you may have noticed, there has not been a press conference to formally introduce him or our guy, George Niang, to the Boston Celtics. So we've seen KP introduced in Atlanta. We've seen Drew Holiday introduced in Portland. Like, these are all official now. Like, these are they're no longer in this waiting period. These are official deals and signings, and they've sent out their memos, but there has not been any press conference. So it does seem to indicate that what Windy is saying should have some type of merit or truth to it. I'll be honest, Greg, I kind of just I didn't do a deep dive into this like we did with a lot of the other mock trades, but I just kind of looked around the league, and especially where everyone has now gone through the process of sorting their team more or less, right? I don't really know where there's an Anfernee Simons destination. I think at this point, my best guess is he probably is going to end up being on the Celtics roster to start the season. But I don't know if you've given any time to think about this, or if there's something that you're like, maybe here's another move that you could see happening, or a team or location.
I like Anfernee Simons on the Celtics this year, man. I think he's one of those guys that's worth a look. He's not going to get more than he's already making right now. I think he's going to have to come down in his expectations of his salary moving forward in his career, just because we see that type of player was getting probably more than the market share over the last 5 years. And now people are starting to realize, like, hey, we can't pay a combo guard that doesn't play defense more than $20 million a year, right? So
20,000 would be a steal. That's a good deal. So, as fans, sign us up for the 20K deal. I like that.
I'll play ball for 20K. I think with Simons, I want to see him on the Celtics just because I think he could help somebody at the trade deadline, and maybe you get a little bit more than you get right now for him, as like, the $25 million he's making this year doesn't seem as bad after half the season has already gone by. You're only paying half that contract. So I want to see the creativity from Simons offensively on this roster. I wouldn't start him by any means. Like, I think Peyton Pritchard should be elevated into the starting point guard role, and you bring Simons off the bench. That's the way that I would do it, because I think that's where he
What's
actually
your starting
cracked.
five right now on July 13th? What would be your starting five for the Celtics?
Pritchard, White, Brown, Kada. I don't know
That
who
last
I'd put
spot's
in.
hard.
Yeah, I don't know about that last spot. How about you?
I mean, I've kind of until recently, I've kind of been under the assumption Simons would start and Pritchard would remain as the kind of sixth man. Now, I don't think that means Simons closes. Again, I think there's a very big distinction of, the minutes can still skew in Peyton's favor. I was kind of under the impression it would be Simons, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Nemi. I think Jaylen, Derek White, and Nemi feel like the three easiest right now. And then Simons and Pritchard are just going to pick one of the two. And then that last spot, unfortunately, I think it's probably right now it might go to George Niang, unless because I just feel like with Hauser, it's not enough. I don't really know who else would go into that spot besides Niang, unfortunately, right now. It's hard to kind of think of who else would fit. You don't really have a way to play. You don't have a stretch big that you can go double big. You don't have, another big enough wing. Like Hauser is not a big burly enough wing that you can go with just him and JB out there, I think. And then you're going to be kind of small, regardless if you choose Simons or Pritchard. That's going to leave you a little bit smaller in the backcourt. You don't have Holiday, who guards up now, who was guarding Embiid at points. Like you don't have that anymore. So it makes it a really interesting question, and that's why potentially part of this conversation is Brad might not be done, whether it's Niang or whether it's Simons with making a move. Because that's probably the only thing I would say for Simons. I really got fixated on this PJ Washington type dream. When we were talking about Drew Holiday, and with a lot of teams making their moves, I don't really know what's left. And having that maybe that's something that the Mavericks would still be interested in, but they did sign D'Angelo Russell as kind of their stopgap until Kyrie gets healthy. So, I think that would be the one thing for me is if you could find a way to turn Simons into a PJ Washington, Rui Hachimura, like that for me would be something that I prefer to see, because I think there's more potential of getting those type of guys on expiring deals that fit a hole in this roster right now. And they also fit a need that when Tatum comes back, if you like what you see and you can get them at the right price, those are great guys to then also be a part of what you're looking to do going forward. So that would be the one kind of player type that I think would be really attractive. Otherwise, I'm with you. Like I think this team is going to need some juice offensively, or it's going to be really tough to watch at times. So I think Simons could be a boost in that way for this team. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Keep an eye on Trader Brad and see what he does with the rest of the offseason here. I mentioned Kyrie. Let's go to him real quick here. We posted a clip that was going around yesterday. I'm assuming this was in Vegas. I believe he was, I don't know what platform he's Twitch, whatever, one of those streaming platforms with all those Kai Cenats and everybody else. He was streaming at Summer League, and Jaylen Brown came on, and Jaylen Brown had a quote that was kind of going around here. I'll just read it here quickly. I feel like people haven't seen me at my best because we have a loaded roster. And so everybody kind of had some different thoughts and feelings on the sacrifices that JB then went on to talk about that he's made, but now is going to have a chance to kind of do more, which is just very obvious when you lose a guy like Jason Tatum. So I wanted to ask you, Greg. Jaylen Brown says, I feel like people haven't seen me at my best because of this loaded roster. What do you think Jaylen Brown's best for you looks like with what we know on paper this team is going to look like? What do you think the best version of Jaylen Brown looks like?
37 minutes, 9 for 17 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3. 8 rebounds, 12 assists, and a steal.
So did you just give me the game 5 stat line of him
I
against
did.
the Knicks?
I did. Yeah, because that was Jaylen Brown's opportunity to showcase what he can do without Jason
And honestly,
Tatum.
maybe one of his best games ever played. It's at least in his top. It's in his top 5. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, 26, 12, and 8 for JB in that game, where he was in control of the offense the entire game, running pick and roll, setting teammates up. Game 6, he didn't have it at all. And OG Anunoby really locked into him in game 6. But he was also playing on that torn meniscus. So, it's tough for him in those moments to be able to just like bounce back and have the same juice that he needed to have in game 5 after the Tatum injury. Right. So I think Jaylen Brown getting all of the reps as the number one guy, I think he could put up second team all NBA numbers this year, right? If he's able to stay healthy. I've always believed in Jaylen Brown. I've always been the Jaylen Brown guy on this podcast. He's going to need to continue to, fine tune all the details of his game, specifically, as I mentioned with Jordan Walsh earlier, the handle. I'm not going to beat a dead horse there. We all know JB needs to work on his handle. But I think his handle is like probably underrated at this point. I think he's a better ball handler than a lot of people in the media give him credit for, just
He's got a
because
stigma. The stigma of Jaylen's left hand
right.
is just kind of the default throwaway line that anyone, if you listen to a national podcast or people analyze themselves, they'll be like, well, we all know about Jaylen's left hand. It's like,
right.
We did 2 years ago. Yes.
Right.
It's not like it hasn't gotten better, but it's just the line that's attached to him right now.
Exactly. And I think with Jaylen, so much of the handle issues, it comes down to just like him making bad decisions, right? It's like if he can just figure out exactly where the moments are for him to, snake the pick and roll and, get somebody in jail, like those little things, I think are skills that can be developed. The like pure handles, I think, is more of a natural, like God-given thing. Like you can work on it all you want, but like some people are just going to be naturally better ball handlers than other. I don't think he's ever going to be a top tier ball handler in the league. Mm-hmm. But if he just doesn't go like full speed spin move in traffic, which is the Jaylen Brown, like, oh my God, Jaylen, why are we doing that at this moment in the game? I think he's going to clean up a lot of those turnovers. He just needs to get those reps. So I'm high on the JB potentially having an all NBA second team year, the Scottie Pippen year after Jordan retires. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to get to that level because Pippen's, top 50 player all time, but JB could have a great year, man. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think the key word that I took away from what you just said was in that game 5, he was under control, right? That's one of the things that I'm probably most interested to watch is how much, I don't want to say how much pressure Jaylen puts on himself and tries to force the issue, but remains just under control. And like, he has to work with, like, to his point, they've had a loaded roster. This is a very much not loaded roster. In a way that you could see a guy like Jaylen, and I don't mean just Jaylen specifically, this could be any star player that has a lesser amount of talent around them. And they're like, I need to take my game and elevate it because outside of, he's going to have trust in Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. But outside of that, he's probably not going to have a ton of trust in a lot of guys. Like we talked a lot about, like, Jaylen, whose vision has gotten better. He kind of has always had a blind spot for those Sam Hauser spots when he's wide open. So maybe he'll hit him this year. Let's hope so. But maybe Sam Hauser's not going to be as open this year because there's a lot less for teams to have to worry about. And so you could see Jaylen getting into that tunnel vision mode of I need to be the guy. And I'm not saying that will definitively happen, but I think it's a potential pathway that you need to kind of be aware of. And I think if he can overcome those things, I think everything that you said is in play. And we've talked about it before. The pendulum on the Jaylen Brown value and assessment is going to swing wildly based on this year. If he does everything that you said, and the Celtics are a top 3, 4, 5 seed in the East with this roster, and he's second team all NBA, his value is never going to be higher than this. And it's going to be a great season. It's going to be enjoyable. Celtics are probably still going to go to the second round of the playoffs if that's the case.
But if he becomes that guy, if his value like goes through the roof, that's a guy that you don't want to trade. If he reaches his potential, like it doesn't matter how high his value gets because you're not going to want to trade that guy, especially with the question mark of Tatum coming back off the Achilles. I just wanted to jump in real quick. You mentioned how like he's going to have to raise his level. I think what that looks like in this role is, are you good enough to raise people around you? Right. That's that's the goal of a number one guy. And I think that's the concern with like Tatum as a top 3 guy in the league is like, how great does he make everybody else around him? The numbers of like the Peyton Pritchards, the Sam Hausers, the Luke Cornett's of the world will tell you he makes them really good. But he doesn't, he's not like a natural distributor. Jason Tatum is a score first type of guy. And it's like always going to be at his pace, right? He has a little bit of that Luka-ness to him, right? Where he's going to slow it down and see the game how he wants to see it. But I think with JB, because he's had the reps playing off of someone like Tatum, it's almost like he might see the holes in that approach. And now that he gets to have his opportunities, like, okay, Tatum did it this way, but that's how JT does it. Here's what I like about that. Here's what I don't like about that. Here's how I'm going to step into that role. And I'm excited for that. And you mentioned Hauser, dude. I completely forgot about Hauser. Hauser's my 4. Hauser's in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's between him and Niang. I think it's that
Yeah.
that last.
No. We don't talk about George Niang on this podcast. By the way, did you see when the Celtics posted all the Niang, like, welcome to Boston stuff? I went through and read the comments. 99% of them were just like, get this fat piece of shit out of here. It was so funny.
The Niang hate's real. Like, it's not just
Yeah.
us. I know that. And I think it was one of the, maybe like Noah Dalzell was like she was very surprised by it. I was like, yeah, this is the thing. Like, Niang is despite being a Massachusetts guy, it's not a homecoming. It's not a pleasant homecoming of what we have.
Dude, it was
right
so
now.
funny. I saw Alex just like laughing because he knows how much I hate Niang. And I just like, I don't know, I just have a visceral response whenever I see that dude's face. I just hate his face, man. Get him out of here.
Hey, might be 82 games, man. You got to get used to it. We'll have to see what that looks like. But yeah, a lot of opportunities for not just Jaylen Brown, but for a lot of guys on this roster. So I think it's going to be a fascinating season. One last quick thing here before we bring in producer. That's right, producer Alex Gonzalez here for our trivia segment here in the off season. Greg, I'm sure this slipped by your radar, but we got a pretty big announcement this week. You know what that sound means. NBA Cup groups announced with the most mildest of excitement that ever existed for anything. Yeah, just might have slipped by your radar. I barely caught my radar. I only got excited because it meant that I could play that theme song. Other than that, I could kind of care less. Celtics are in Group B, just for those curious. Celtics, Nets, Sixers, Pistons, Magic. Greg, 2 quick questions for you. Number 1, is this working for you? Like, does this NBA Cup just in general, is it working for you?
Yes, in that it makes me like want to watch those games more than an average regular season game. That's it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I don't know that it's gonna. Is it gonna last 10 years? I'd probably bet no. I don't think it's. If it is, it's gonna look a lot different than it looks right now. I think this iteration of what the cup looks like is probably like a 5-year experiment.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I was trying to gauge my own interest in this, and I was thinking about the play-in tournament. And I think this last year, I'm just like, do we really need the play-in tournament? It's like kind of like where I'm starting to settle back into. I got in, so in the play-in tournament is a little bit different because I do love the emphasis it puts on getting that 6 seed. Like, I think that's very good for the regular season, but the actual games themselves, specifically those 8-9 matchups, I could just care less about 238 and 45 win teams that are playing for an 8 seed. Like, it just is so uninteresting to me unless the Celtics are the 1 seed. Like, unless my team is the 1 seed, and even then, it's like the level of interest is I'm gonna have a movie night with my wife and maybe watch it on my phone. Like, that's like kind of keep track of it. Like, that's I'm just like waning on that. And I think NBA Cup is kind of going in that direction where it's not, there's no negatives to it, in my opinion, but I just don't think there's a big win sitting there in the NBA Cup.
Can I ask you real quick? Yeah. So on a movie night with your wife, a date night, you're over there sneaking basketball?
Depends on like what's going on. Well, sometimes because it depends if there's a big game on that, and it depends if it's like movie night, like we go to the movies. No, but if it's like movie night, we're like sitting on the couch and like
rewatching Harry Potter or some shit.
Yeah, we're watching a movie that we've probably either both already seen, or it's a dumb rom-com that like we're just like, sure, why not? It's a way to pass time. And I'm like, you'd rather watch this dumb rom-com that sucks. Like, what was the one with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell that is just like abysmal?
Oh yeah, I don't know what it was called, but it was.
I can't remember the name of it.
I didn't make it to the end.
Of the worst. It's one of the worst movies ever. So that's the example of one where I'm like, and she's not even enjoying this, so I'm gonna pull up, Bucks Nuggets on my phone. I'm gonna watch that down the bottom here while we're watching a movie, in air quotes here, together. So yeah, that's the kind of moment that I think the 8-9 play-in game gets for me. And so let me ask you this final question here before we bring in Alex. Greg, can you name the final 4 that went to Vegas from last year's NBA Cup off the top of your head?
Thunder, Bucks, Hawks.
Wow. Yes, that one stumped me, but yes, you did get that right.
Who did the Thunder play? Warriors?
No, it was
No.
close. It was the Rockets. Is who we got
Rockets.
there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a I'm surprised you got the Hawks. Honestly, I thought about this after I caught the quick announcement, and I was like, who? The Bucks and Thunder. I kind of remember because I remember the Bucks won, but then I was really it. It took me a long time to think about it, and I never got to the Hawks.
I remember the
still thought it
first
was-
year. First year was Bucks, Pacers, Lakers, Pelicans.
Yeah, that was a fun time. So this is part of the NBA Cup thing where it's like if you're struggling this hard to remember what's supposed to be a big deal of these teams going to Vegas with this Final Four, I think there's signs of trouble with the NBA Cup. And so this is just, if anyone from the NBA is listening, put it on your radar. Like if it's that hard to remember the Final Four, it's just one game each, and it's less than a year ago at this point. That's a little bit of an issue, I think. So something to keep note of. I'm impressed that you got the Hawks, though. So I got to tip my cap to you. And I think that's a good way for us to transition here as I gave us a little trivia teaser to then bring in our producer here, Alex Gonzalez.
Hey, Will, real quick, before we go to trivia. It was Alex's birthday a few days ago. Alex now 22 years old. Happy birthday to our guy. Alex, can you stand up and show everybody the new Celtics gear you got?
Oh yeah, a new shirt today.
Oh yeah, that's nuts.
Oh,
yeah, it's from Abercrombie.
Yeah.
I get a lot of my shirts from there.
Abercrombie makes Celtics gear?
Yeah,
dude, Abercrombie has had a come up. So Alex, obviously Greg and I are a little bit older. Like Abercrombie, I feel like back in the day, it was something that, and this is, growing up in a white neighborhood, it was like, yeah, everybody has Abercrombie. So we had to go get a little bit of Abercrombie, and then it became kind of like, I don't know. Abercrombie hit a downslide. It hit a downslide, right? And it was just, you don't go to Abercrombie.
Speaking of the words that we used to use back when it was, it's like, yeah, Will's like, all right, what do we call this back in 2000?
Dude, I almost canceled myself right there. I was so I can't believe how much you're in my head right now. So many things that I was like, well, that's immediately went back to like 2003 brain, and it was like, can't say that. Yeah, but I will say, Alex, yes, Abercrombie has made a comeback because my wife took me to Abercrombie like maybe 2 years ago, and I got some joggers from there that are like my favorite pair of pants that I own. And I did notice they have a bunch of like really cool t-shirts like that, like some old school, like vintage Super Bowl t-shirts, Olympics, and like different teams depending on, I think, where you are. So yeah, Greg, Abercrombie, it's back, and it's for everybody this time.
Yeah, they have I love Abercrombie. I had never been to Abercrombie until like 2 years ago. I like walked in the mall and I found this shirt. I don't even know, like it just looked weird, but it just felt so good. I don't know why. And then I went on their website and they have like a bunch of Celtics gear, they have Patriots gear. Like I was wearing they have like oversized tees. So I have like an oversized Patriots tee. I got they have a Super Bowl 51 t-shirt for the Patriots, so I got that for my birthday too. But then they even have like some other shirts. Like I have a Tour de France shirt, and like I've never watched Tour de France. I just thought it looked cool, and then I had like people come up to me and be like, "Oh, are you gonna watch Tour de France next week?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Alex Gonzalez, big bike guy.
Bike guy. I have a question for you, Alex. We were just talking about Will sneaking basketball during a movie night, and then we brought up rom-coms, right? So I would say rom-coms for me, like the date rom-coms that I would probably show when I was your age. Good Will Hunting, the obvious rom-com. That was the movie that I always showed girls. No, it was a joke, Will.
Okay.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Big fan.
Yeah, like that's the go-to like millennial rom-com. What would you say?
You guys want to hear a quick stat about How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Yes.
Saw it 3 times in movie theaters with my 8th grade girlfriend, and then saw it a 4th time when I introduced her to my parents. I don't know why that was the move, but we went to Blockbuster. We rented How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. The four of us watched it in a very awkward 2-hour setting, and then she went home. That was how I introduced the first girl ever to my parents. So it's a little tidbit about How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days for you. 4 times, 1 girl, 1 meeting with the parents.
Shout out Corinne. Okay, go ahead, Alex.
Rom-coms, honestly, I don't really watch that many rom-coms with Lily. We usually watch, like, the last time we sat down and watched a movie, we watched 1917. So like that was a pretty good one.
Romantic.
And then and they had where's the wartime movie with Benedict Cumberbatch where he's like building the Imitation Game. We watched that one.
Oh, The Imitation Game. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We don't really watch rom-coms like that. I've watched La La Land. That was really good, but
still never seen that.
It's a really good movie. I actually just watched Superman last night.
Give us a quick review. It's been from what I've seen online, getting good reviews. I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy, but I do have an interest in potentially if I can get a babysitter and go see this at some point. So give me a quick review here, Alex, before we go to trivia.
I think it was definitely worth it. It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. I think James Gunn did an excellent job. The only problem I had nothing to do with the actual movie. Some dude was sitting next to me in the theater, and he decided to make it like his home. He took off his shoes, so he was just he just had his feet out, and the entire movie. On? No.
Oh,
yeah.
So wait, what? This is still you still can't do. Did he come in wearing flip flops, or he like took off?
I believe we got to the movie a little late, so I didn't see what shoes he was wearing before the lights dimmed, but I know what shoes he wasn't wearing was none. He was wearing absolutely nothing. And and he just kept rubbing his feet against each other like the entire movie, and you could hear it the whole time.
Oh, that's disgusting. That's ruining the movie right there.
And he wasn't even sitting with his wife. His wife was in the row in front. So one time he like went to go get his drink, and he just like stood up in front of me and Lily, and just like was like standing there for like a good minute, just like talking with his wife during the movie. So that was the only problem I had with it. Otherwise,
did you call the police on this man? Because I feel like this guy needs the police called on him. I don't understand what's going on in this man's life.
No, I did not call the police on him. I should have, though. Should have got him out of there. But I think the movie was really good. I would recommend seeing it.
All right, Superman, getting a positive review here. If I do end up going to see it, I will give my thoughts on that at some point. I doubt I'll have time to go see it until it hits streaming. But good to know. I do want Superman to do well. I enjoy comic book movies. So, all right, Alex, you're up here, man. Let's do some trivia here for the people. You couldn't stump us last time. Let's see what you got for us today.
Yeah. All right, so I went to the drawing board this time. This list was a list I found online, and it stumped me. So I think it might be able to stump you guys as well. This is who are the all-time scoring leaders for each Eastern Conference team. I'm not going to do like strikes like I did last time. I'll just let you guys go after it, and we'll see what happens.
All right, Greg. Let's rock this here. You know, number 1 here, Chicago Bulls. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, Michael Jordan. But Alex, is this like points with the franchise?
Yeah, points with the franchise.
Points with the franchise. Okay.
So 1 is Michael Jordan. That's correct.
All right. 2, Will.
2, we've got the Boston Celtics here, and there's 2 guys. I'm actually not positive which one it is. It's either Pierce or Havlicek. I'm gonna be hand up. I am not 100% positive which one it is. Do you know which one of the 2 it is, Greg?
I don't. It's either Pierce or Havlicek, though. I'm gonna go with Havlicek.
It is John Havlicek.
Yes.
All right. Good job, Greg. I had a feeling that's what it was, but I wanted you to be the one that got it officially wrong or not, in case we chop this up into into some social media footage here. I wanted you to have that on your record, not me.
That number looked really familiar to me. 26,395.
Yeah. Okay, let's go next here. We've got the Pacers. My gut tells me that's Reggie Miller. Do you have any other objections to that, Greg?
No, that's Reggie.
Yep, Reggie Miller is number 3.
Okay. Number 4 on this list, we have the New York Knicks, 23,665 points. My gut says Ewing, but I don't know if there's a Willis Reed or a Clyde Frazier, but I feel like this has got to be Pat Ewing.
Bernard? Could it be Bernard, though?
He had kind of a short career, though, because he had some injuries. Like, I think at his peak, he would have probably got this. I feel good about Ewing.
Okay, I'm in.
Let's go with Pat Ewing.
Number 4 is Patrick Ewing.
All right, 4 for 4.
All right, on to the Atlanta Hawks here, 23,292 points. I think eventually this is going to be Trae Young. He's not there yet, obviously. Well, as long as Trae Young remains an Atlanta Hawk, that is. This has got to feel like Dominique, right? Yeah.
Yep, number 5 is Dominique Wilkins.
All right, 5 for 5. We are rolling. Let's go.
Number 6, obviously, Zydrunas Ilgauskas.
Come on, Greg. It's Mark Price. We all know this. 23,119 points. LeBron James.
Yep, number 6 is LeBron.
All right.
Now I'd say it's where it starts to get a little more difficult.
I was going to say, this is going to get a little spicy here because we're going to have a couple different options. So 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers, 21,586. Greg, what you got going?
It's either Iverson or Dr. J, right?
Yeah, I just feel like Dr. J had so many years in the ABA that it makes me think that it wouldn't be him. Embiid, just obviously not ever healthy enough. Barkley didn't play there long enough. So it does feel like it's Dr. J and it's AI. I think we go with Iverson here. Let's go with Allen Iverson.
It is not Allen Iverson.
Damn, is it Dr. J?
It is not Dr. J.
Is it Wilt?
It is not Wilt.
Yeah, we completely forgot Wilt in that. Whoa. Okay, so you're right. This does get very challenging right now. Who are we missing? Moses Malone, I don't believe played with the Sixers long enough. Unless Alex, you want to change my assumption on that?
Yeah, he did not. It is not Moses Malone.
It's not Moses Malone. Okay.
Anybody in the chat? Can we call the chat here?
You can call the chat. I'm gonna be honest. I'd never heard of this guy before.
Oh, is this like a Hal Greer situation? This is one of those Sporkle references that you got to go deep in the bag for here. I'm trying to think of it's not Hal Greer, but it's gonna be somebody of that ilk. Let's circle back to this one, Greg, because this isn't gonna be fun for the audience.
One name in mind, but I gotta think about how long he played for the Sixers or even if he played for the Sixers.
Okay, Philadelphia 76ers. We're circling back. Let's go to the Miami Heat here. 21,556 points. I think this is a pretty interesting one. Actually, no, this is gonna be Dwayne Wade, right? This has got to be D Wade.
Yep, number 8 is Dwayne Wade.
Good call.
I had some Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway jumped to my mind, but D Wade was just he wasn't injured for that long. Yeah. Milwaukee, 20,538 points. Only question is, has Giannis gotten to this point yet? I'm trying to remember if we've celebrated Giannis scoring 20,000 points yet, and I don't know that we're quite there yet. And then so that would leave guys like Kareem. Who played there a pretty long time. 25. I mean, granted, he was the NBA leading scorer of all time up until LeBron a couple of years ago,
and that was his young years where he was at his best was with the Bucks, right? I'd probably go Kareem here.
Yeah, let's go Kareem.
It is not Kareem.
Damn.
Is it Giannis?
It is Giannis.
Shout out to Giannis.
Okay. We sold short on Giannis. Shout out to Giannis in the 20,000 point club. That's another conversation for another day. But where Giannis is historically, maybe if we just are looking to kill some time, we can talk a little historically ranking players here.
Okay,
fascinating one.
Let's recap here. Michael Jordan, John Havlicek, Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Dominique Wilkins, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yep. Got 6 teams left to go here. Let's go Detroit Pistons here, 18,822 points. My gut says Isaiah Thomas, but also let's go with Isaiah, I think, right?
It is Isaiah Thomas.
Yep.
All right, there it is. Washington Wizards coming in here at a number 11, 15,551 points. I'm feeling like we might need to pull back to like the Wizards. To the Bullets days. Yeah. So like, is this like I'm gonna throw a name out here real quick, Greg. Roll with me. Let's see if it is Wes Unseld.
It is not Wes Unseld.
Okay.
I mean,
You're in
Brad
the right
Beal.
era though. It's
Okay.
Wizard/Bullets.
Okay, Wizard/Bullets. I was gonna say Brad Beal played there a long time. Wizard/Bullets. I'm gonna need to come back to that one.
Yeah, we'll circle back, and I don't think Hibachi was around long enough to get to that 15,000 mark. So I don't think it's him either. So we'll come back to that one. Let's go to the Toronto Raptors here at 13,296. Greg, I think we have 3 candidates for this one.
Okay, talk me through it.
So obviously Vince, the OG Toronto
Mhm.
Raptor, right? I think that's on the table. Chris Bosh, although I mean these were like the peak of him being the number 1 scorer. I don't think he's gonna
but he only played like 7 years there, right?
7 years, right? So I think he might be out. And then DeRozan is the other guy,
Mhm.
right? So I think it's probably between DeRozan, and I'm not putting Kyle Lowry because he's not just as much of a scorer as DeRozan. So if they're going to be somewhat equivalent, DeRozan's gonna take that spot.
Yeah.
So I think it's between DeRozan and Vince.
I'm gonna go DeRozan.
What do you say, Alex?
It is DeRozan.
There we
DeRozan.
go. Good
Number
job,
12.
Greg. I was leaning Vince, so good job on that one. Let's go number 13 here. The Charlotte Hornets at 12,009 points. I actually think this might be Kemba. Unless I'm missing something.
That's a good guess there. I don't think Baron Davis played there long enough. I mean, yeah, I could go. I could be down with Kemba.
Let's lock it in, Alex. We'll go with Kemba Walker.
It is Kemba Walker.
Hey, let's go, Will.
Dude, you know what? That first half season of Kemba when he's with the Celtics was fucking awesome.
Before they played him for 50 minutes in the inaugural Kobe game.
He was so good in that first half of that season. Like, it is really unfortunate that didn't work out because that had the makings of just a really fun story with Kemba Walker being really good at the Celtics. So that's unfortunate. We got 2 more teams left here, and then we got to circle back to the 76ers, the team that we have not been able to get. Number 14, the Orlando Magic here at 11,435 points. Another interesting team here with I think a couple different names that are in contention. My lean is Dwight Howard on this, but I don't know if
that would be my lean too. Who are the other people you're thinking of?
I mean, like obviously, Shaq comes to mind, but he only played I think either 4 or 5 years there, so that's probably the longevity. Tracy McGrady's in the same boat where I think he was only a Magic for 4 years, so he's not going to get to 11,000 in just those despite him being a beast in those.
Was he there only 4 years?
Yeah, he signed that one. It was either 4 or 5, but he signed that one deal after Toronto, and then he left for Houston because the whole thing didn't work out with Grant Hill. So that was because Grant was hurt the whole time. So
Dwight played for like a decade.
Yeah, roughly, more or less. So I think those are the kind of the guys I was thinking of. Like, it's got to be Dwight. Let's go with Dwight Howard.
T-Mac was averaging like 30 every year on the Magic, though. Okay, I'll go
Dwight.
Yeah, let's lock in Dwight.
Dwight Howard is correct.
All right, there we go. Greg,
do you know what T-Mac was at?
I do not know.
Okay. All right, then
you have 3 teams left: Sixers, Wizards, Nets.
Oh, I forgot about the Wizards. Yeah, we haven't got the Wizards yet either. Okay, so Sixers, Wizards, and now the Nets are the final team here. 10,444 points for the New Jersey, aka Brooklyn Nets. Oh man, this is another tough one because they just don't have like players that have stuck around for a super long time to be like, oh, that's the guy.
I know. I'm just thinking like Keith Van Horn, Kerry Kittle, like that era. But it's probably
Richard
not those
Jefferson
dudes.
is the answer. Kenyon Martin. That's the thing. Jason Kidd's the best player on all the teams that we're referencing here, but he was getting a bunch of assist totals. And he didn't play with them because he played for like 4 or 5 different teams. Like he wasn't on the Nets for 10 years,
right?
To get to this number. KD and Kyrie weren't, didn't play enough.
Alex, what era are we talking here?
I'll say this player is still currently playing in the NBA today.
Oh, I know the answer.
Tell us.
It's Brook Lopez.
It is Brook Lopez.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sneaky Brook Lopez answer right there. Crazy that Brook Lopez is the career leader in points for a team. That's pretty insane.
All right, we've got the Wizards and we've got the Sixers, right?
The Sixers, I think I've come up with a name that it might be. Is it Bobby Jones?
No, it is not. I
Okay.
believe
I'm just
you
guessing
already
guys that I
said
remember from
the
sports.
answer to the Sixers, but you didn't lock it in.
Wait, we already said it?
Yeah, but you were just throwing
Ooh.
out names and you didn't lock in the answer.
We didn't
You've
lock
already
in the
mentioned it.
answer.
We locked. Okay, we locked in.
It was just Will. He mentioned Sporkle or whatever.
So I said Hal Greer, right?
Yeah. The
that
answer
the
is Hal
answer?
Greer. Yeah.
Hal Greer, lock it in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Alex, on a technicality, did not give that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Come on, Alex. I thought because Will. Okay, let me just rewind the tape. Will goes, "Is this a Hal Greer situation?" To me, that's an answer. That's an answer right there.
Fair. It is Hal Greer. I had never
Let's get a
heard of him
green light
before.
special on that. Let's get a green light special.
Yeah.
We'll have to come back, see if we get that one. I think we nailed that one from the field. So that leaves just the Wizards here at 15,551. One
How many
hint that we
years
do
did he?
have
Okay.
is a Bullets Wizards type situation.
Let me look it up. Let me look up his career. He
Okay.
played with the Bullets from 1974 until 1981.
Oof. Okay. I don't know.
This
I'm
is
gonna
a
get
tough
this one,
one,
Will.
man. I don't either, man. Is the world be free?
It is not World Be Free. I will say he played 80. His lowest game total in those 7 or 8 seasons was 80 games. So he basically played every game for about 7 seasons.
Well, I don't know if I
Yeah,
know this
but-
answer. Are there? Who did he play for after he played for the Bullets?
The Rockets for 3 seasons, then he retired.
So he would have been on those 80s Rockets teams that were pretty good, including that
Mhm.
80s Rockets team that went to the finals against the Celtics. See, Ralph Sampson was always on the Rockets. So obviously
Mhm.
Olajuwon was on that team. Cassell was a young guy on that team. Ori was a young guy on that team.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm getting
gonna
this
get
one.
this one.
All right,
Yep.
give it to us, Al. We're gonna tap out on this one because I don't think it's gonna be fun for us trying to the limited knowledge of Greg and I with 70s Bullets players. It's just
Mhm.
not gonna be a fun visual or audio experience.
The answer is Elvin Hayes.
Alvin Hayes. Okay.
Okay.
It's at least someone I
Okay,
knew.
that's
9 years
that's
for
one
the
that we could have
Wizards,
got
averaged
to,
21
or we
points
should
per
have got to at some point, maybe even just throwing it out there, even if we weren't confident. That's again, I think that's in the Sporkle realm for us, a little bit outside of our wheelhouse. But Alex, this was well done, man. I think
Yeah.
that this was well done. You definitely made us think quite a bit more on this one. So excited to see what you come up with next time we get to do this here. So this will be recurring throughout the summer here. Producer Alex Gonzalez will be giving us different trivia. Alex, appreciate the work that you're putting in. Greg, I think that's going to do it for this episode here on Green with Envy. Do you have any final thoughts before we send the people out and get back to our Sundays?
No final thoughts.
All right, no final thoughts, guys. I'll be out next week, but Greg will be holding it down here either with Alex or maybe we'll have a special guest here. So make sure that you guys are locked in. We'll have some more summer league coverage and, of course, any news and newts. Newts? Have you heard about this new thing called newts? News and notes, if I could speak correctly, that come across. We will make sure to have something for you. As always, appreciate you guys locking in with us. Subscribe, follow us at Green MB Pod wherever you can. Enjoy the rest of your week and talk to you guys later. Peace.